Hello and welcome to the Santa Clarita Valley Signal News podcast. I'm your host, Aron Bender. The big story locally, nationally, and internationally is the situation in Afghanistan, the craziness surrounding the U.S. pullout, the fallout from that sudden evacuation. Joining me is decorated U.S. Army combat veteran and fellow L.A. radio veteran, Bryan Suits, host of The Dark Secret Place, exclusively at thedarksecretplace.com. Biden's comments this morning, Friday morning, your initial reaction as we talked just minutes after he completed his speech and Q&A.
Aren't you? Okay, I shouldn't say that. You're a journalist. I'm an opinion guy. He doesn't know the name of his Secretary of Defense.
Keeps calling him general and yeah.
Or that guy in charge of that outfit down there. When he introduced him, he said that this is like, 6 months ago. He said that guy in charge of that outfit. And then he just said it again. He said the general. I keep saying that. I mean, that he doesn't know the guy's name. But anyway, it was incomprehensible. And it doesn't address the issues that are happening there, including the fact that the fatal flaw here is that we've allowed the Taliban to be in charge of who gets in. And so, all the checkpoints are just collaborator, snatch sites. So the people that he claims that we're going to be getting out, they're afraid to go. I mean, why would you go there? It solved nothing of the basic problem. And also, I was really dismayed that none of the journalists asked the most basic question, which is of course, why didn't you see this coming when everybody else did? And then why did you give away the most capable air base for 1,000 miles? If you had to design an air base for an evacuation, it would have been Bagram. Triple fence, guard towers, roving patrols, 3 runways. I mean, we put $20 billion into the thing. And nobody even asked him that. They asked Milley that the other day, and he had some incomprehensible, idiotic answer. So anyway, this is when people say it's an unfolding disaster. No. It's been unfolded. It's out of the dryer. It's unfolded. It's been ironed. The corners have been tucked in. It is a disaster, and it hasn't even begun. Here's the crazy part. They're talking in past tense like, well, that guy fell off the C-17. Boy, that was a bad one. No, their worst horrors are right around the corner.
How should this have been handled to not see what we saw this week?
Well, you should have pulled the military out last. We should not have just ghosted. That's effectively what happened. We ghosted Bagram. I mean, remember the Afghans back in June said, yeah, they were just gone. One day they weren't here. We should not have ghosted Bagram. This should have been organized earlier. And there should have been an urge on, and there should have been, a public declaration by the Taliban, which is, look, we want you guys gone too. We're not going to interfere. We're not going to even enter Kabul until the last one of your guys leaves. But none of that was done. None of that was done by Trump, and none of that was done by Biden. This is a cock-up of the first water, as the British say.
The brass at the top of the Marines this week sent a letter to veterans and really to all of America saying, hey, yes, it was worth it, because a lot of people are asking this week, was it worth it? Your answer to that?
Yeah, I read that letter. I got to say, I didn't really know much about the coming out of the Marine Corps until this week. That's a fairly remarkable, self-aware and sensitive letter. He's addressing his entire service. I wish the chief of staff of the Army or one of those guys had sent a letter like that. Was it worth it? No, because all the progress we made is about to be reversed. I just don't see the Taliban saying, well, okay, you can keep the pants on, but you got to cover your hair. It's just not going to happen. It's not in their DNA. They just won. They just defeated the greatest military power the world's ever seen. And they have to dunk. They have to do an end zone dance. And the end zone dance is going right back to September 10th, 2001. Remember, the guys who won the guys surrounding the airport, their older brothers and their dads were blown to smithereens by AC-130 gunships and A-10s and all that. They have scores to settle, and it'll be a miracle if one American service member escapes. If we escape without losing one American service member, because these guys are poorly disciplined, and they have a lot of incentive, and a lot of them haven't seen an American. We haven't been out there in the field for about 8, 9, 10 years. Now they're seeing this enemy that they just defeated. And how can you let them go without taking a shot at them? So it'll be a miracle if an American doesn't leaves, if we leave without a single casualty. Because let me give you this perspective. It's funny because it's been going on since the British attempted and failed. And of course, we funded the Mujahideen to defeat the Soviets. And you see the advantage that air power gives. You take away someone's air power, they're not going to win in Afghanistan. If you have the air power, you can stay there indefinitely. And we have killed hundreds of thousands of them. But what's funny is Afghanistan has been conquered left and right, but it happened under medieval rules because those are the rules they play by. The Sikhs dominated Afghanistan for centuries because they had that rule, that FAFO rule, the F around and find out. That's medieval occupation. We're not medieval now. This is a lesson for the Western world, is if you're going to bring your media, don't even try to fight a counterinsurgency. If you're going to go fight medieval people, you can wave the Geneva Conventions all around. They're just going to wipe their butt with them. So you either play by their rules or you just don't get involved in the war. And I mean, that I knew in Iraq. If you don't let me be a counterinsurgent, don't send me to a counterinsurgency.
What's the next week look like there, the next month, the next year?
The next week, I'm afraid, is going to be uglier. The Taliban are hungry, they're tired, they're stressed. They are being asked to do something they've never done before, and that's put people in orderly lines. These are not civil servants. These are illiterate fighters, and you're going to see their absolute lack of training and discipline come to a crescendo, I think, any hour. It's 11:30. It's 11 p.m. in Kabul right now. These guys are not getting sleep. They're hearing gunfire. They're also preoccupied by looting and raping, and their so-called command and control is telling them, "Hey, hold off on that till the cameras are gone." But I think the next week is going to get worse, and I honestly don't see us completing this job by August 31st. And Biden just said in that presser that if anyone's left behind, we're not leaving. I mean, the Bloomberg guy got him to commit. I think it was Bloomberg got him to commit that, okay, well, what if on August 31st, there's more special immigrant visas or there's more legal permanent residence? Because, the Taliban don't know what a green card is. There's loads of people that are there who are LPRs, legal permanent residents. They're showing a green card to the Taliban guy. He has no idea what that is. And so they're not getting in. And because there was zero coordination, because this was pulled out of Biden's ass. And to be fair, I think the big difference is that if Trump was reelected and this happened in May, or he moved it to this artificial 9/11, date, I think seeing what he's seeing, Trump would say, okay, screw it. Send 82nd Airborne, 101st, send everybody from Europe. We're going to put a perimeter around Kabul, and the Taliban's going to like it, or they're going to lose a bunch of guys who are not going to see the victory parade, which is, by the way, is scheduled for 9/11, because why wouldn't you? They just had the biggest victory in Afghanistan's history. This beats the crap out of Russia or the British Empire.
Bryan, it's good to catch up with you. I appreciate the insight. TheDarkSecretPlace.com for all your insight. You can lots and lots of thoughts, I would imagine, coming later today and throughout the weekend and going forward on Afghanistan and other hot spots around the world.
Yep, nothing but the truth. No one texting me to shut up. No boycott, no cancel, no firing. I work for me now. So thank you very much for having me on.
It's good to see you, buddy. Thanks.
Yeah, you too, man.
My thanks to Bryan Suits. You can find him exclusively at thedarksecretplace.com. You can find me at aronbender.com. Email me guest ideas or comments, abender@signalscv.com. Be well, and thanks for joining me on the Santa Clarita Valley Signal News Podcast.